uh, go over how to first log into an FTP account and so on. So I'm using Coda for this example. It's a nice little text editor or IDE, and it's also a good FTP client that I like to use. So the first thing, we're gonna make an account. Since my server is it's my server, so it's ftp.brodskydesigns. And then we have to go over here, and we can use this information. This is the cPanel information, but the cPanel information can also work as your FTP information. So this is really, it doesn't serve any purpose other than the thumbnail in Coda. So you actually don't need to put it, and most FTP clients won't ask for it. You can leave the port as the default. Usually it's 22. And we can double click on it and make sure it works. Now it's going to be connecting. It's going to show you your local files first. You need to go over to your global or remote. Now, once you're in, you'll see the file structure of this cPanel account. There's a bunch of stuff. The only thing that we're going to be working with is within public HTML. So public HTML has Frontend right here. I actually already put it in, but to add files, you can either create one like this, and let's say I do like index.html. Index.html is the file that's first seen, so I can do like hello world. Save it. And now if I go over here, by the way, this is what happens if you don't have any index file. Now I see hello world. I'm going to delete this because we actually don't need it. And I'll go back to the default directory. Now, I already put in some files. Now, the way I did this is I simply went over to my Finder in Mac, and I dragged in all these files one by one. So if I want to drag in one file, just as a demo, I can go over here, and I can do that with as many files as I want, just by selecting a whole bunch, dragging them all in. So I don't need that there, so I'm just going to remove it. But we can go in here and we kind of see all the pages that we get. It looks like they have PHP versions and HTML versions. So let's just play with the HTML versions for now. You go to the front end and it'll just show the index.html, so wherever this is. Right here. By the way, index.html will come before index.php. And these are all the things that are already in here. So this is our standard web page. Now we can either go over here, it shows our login screen, and this is really the first thing we need to customize. Now I think we should actually deal with the HTML one because it's going to be easier, so I'm just going to type in HTML. And from here, we can go in here and customize really whatever we want. Now they do have a bunch of these things already in here, which are kind of nice. We can play around with them a little bit. But let's say we want the wood. That's great. But if we want to delete something, we have to go over to that file. login button .html. You kind of look at the code and figure out what everything does. Let's just worry about HTML at the beginning, and then we'll get into CSS and JavaScript. The easiest thing that can be changed will be like the username or email address. Let's say we don't want to have the or email address because we only want usernames for this. We can literally just take this out and it should suffice. So now it'll only say username. Cool. And for like password, we don't want it to say do you remember, so we can just go like that, because we're not going to have a forget password thing for now. So we have our basic little form here, pretty much ready for this. We're going to need to put a different name, of course, so welcome to big data, Twitter data, or whatever we call it. I'll change that to an exclamation point. And it's live on the server. You can actually see that now. Now I want to remove this stuff. So I just have to kind of see where it's being put in. And it looks like it's all of this right here. Because I can see like the stripes and everything. So it's most likely this div right here. Looks like it's that. I'm totally guessing to a point, and yeah, it looks like that's done correctly. We don't need to have this Google Analytics code because we can definitely add that later. And that's just kind of the quick introduction of how to edit the HTML. We'll of course go into more detail if we want to actually change the background, stuff like that. That's going to be slightly more work. And we'll get into more CSS and everything. Alright, if you have any questions, let me know.